What is up, everyone, and welcome to some more F123 My Team career mode. We are here at the start of a brand new season, and we are going to be at the Bahrain Grand Prix. But first, we've got a few things to do. You can see we've got 15 million in the bank from all the stuff that we have, all the targets we met last season, I guess. So yeah, we got quite a lot that we can invest into facility upgrades, and I'm basically going to be trying to get everything to spec 1 here. We're going to start with all of these fabrication ones that we didn't do last time, which is just the durability department, and then we're going to go for resource point generation on these last 2 that we don't have it in as well, and then everything else I'm going to invest in as well. So build time for these 2, and then build time and quality control for the durability department, which I'm hoping should mean that we're going to be pretty close to unlocking some new upgrades in a second. I can afford the quality control upgrade here, but I actually think I'm going to save up for the resource point generation one. It's quite expensive, it's 6 million, but it means that we're going to be generating way more resource points. So yeah, we can do a number of new upgrades now that we've got those new fabrication facility upgrades in the chassis and the powertrain departments, which means we can do 5 new upgrades because we don't currently have anything available to us to do in the aero department. But in all of the other departments, we can do at least 1 upgrade and then 2 in chassis and powertrain. So yeah, it looks like whilst we might be the worst car on the grid at the moment, just having a look at the index, the performance index. It's looking like, you know, within a race or 2, we could easily be sort of back with Alpha Tauri, Williams, Alfa Romeo, these guys. So, yeah, it's not looking amazing for us right now, but there's definitely things to be optimistic about. We have the facilities, we have the means to improve up the grid, hopefully quite quickly, but certainly within, you know, by hopefully halfway through the season, we won't be the worst car on the grid, and maybe we'll be able to contend with, you know, the likes of the McLarens, the Haas's, those kinds of guys. We'll see. But yeah, all these facility upgrades have got on the got into the facilities now, so that's pretty good. They're asking me to pick a rival. My choices were Verstappen, Perez, and Russell. So I picked Perez simply because he was the guy who did the worst consistently across the previous season. Obviously, Russell, the world champion, reigning world champion, and Verstappen, no slouch either. So yeah, I went for Perez, but I'm still not optimistic about my chances of beating him. He's still got about 3 times as many points as I did last season. And so, yeah, I need to really try very hard if I'm going to have any chance of beating him. I don't think it's going to be possible, and probably, you know, preemptively, I can bet that we're going to be pushing our difficulty down a little bit. We still can't quite afford this resource point upgrade, but we're not too far away. I reckon within a race weekend or 2, we'll be able to get it, and then we'll have our first Spec 2 facility upgrade, which will be pretty exciting. But yeah, other than that, I think that's basically everything that we've got to do admin-wise. You know, we've seen all of this stuff, all the upgrades, all the facility upgrades, everything is all done. And yeah, it's now time for us to get into the race weekend. Bahrain. We had a DNF here last year, so I actually have yet to finish this track on this year's game. And therefore, the aim is simple here. Finish, and preferably in the points. Because we do get a sponsorship bonus, I believe, if we qualify in the top 10. I was going to say if we finish in the top 10, but I think it's actually qualifying in the top 10. I think it's finishing in the top 12 or something like that. I can't quite remember. Yeah, I can't remember what my sponsorship bonuses are now. But either way, you know, I wanna aim for points consistently this season if we can. I know that I'm going to at least have the pace to do that. You know, the cars aren't so far apart in performance that I think that would be impossible. And yeah, here we go. We are getting into the first session now of our first race in our 2nd season in Formula 1, which I'm very excited for. Obviously, the target this season is to finish 6th in the Constructors. I think that's going to be quite difficult because I am going to have to do a lot for the team to do that. I don't think that Dennis Hauger is going to do too much for us. I accidentally clicked advance a little bit too early there. You know, still bedding back into it after a few days away. I think it was about 5 days ago that I recorded Abu Dhabi now. So yeah, it's been a little while, but yeah, we're slowly but surely getting back into it, and now it is time for us to get into qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So like I said, the aim is going to be simple here as well. Get into the top 10, qualify in the top 10, and then yeah, see what we can do from there. See if we can grab a few points on race day. It's really really that simple. I've kind of gone through phases of liking this track and not liking this track. I don't know. I think at the moment, whilst my tyres might be invisible in their tyre blankets there, I think I do like this track at the moment. It feels all right, but it's not my favourite by any means. It used to be one of my favourites, but I wouldn't say it is anymore. We do a 130.4 on our first fresh set of soft tyres, but our DRS did fail right at the end there, so we probably could have got another 10th on this final straight, I would say, if we'd have had the DRS. But the DRS actually doesn't fix itself in my next run, so despite the fact that I was on fresh soft tyres, I actually improved by about 0.4, which I was pretty surprised by given the lack of DRS. But I guess it goes to show that 129 will be very easily achievable there. And yeah, we comfortably got through to the to Q2 in P11. So yeah, really good result from us. And hopefully once I get that DRS fixed, we'll be able to contend with these guys in the top 10 to hopefully get through to Q3. But, you know, all in good time. Eliminated in this session was Magnussen, Albon, Sargent de Vries and Fittipaldi, and then Dennis Hauger was P19. So, yeah, not too bad from him. He was still a little ways off the pace, but I'm not too disappointed with that performance from him. P19. As long as he's not qualifying on the back row, that's basically all that's all I want from him. I don't want him any lower than sort of 19th or 20th, I think would be the sort of lowest result I would take from him. So yeah, it's not atrocious. We move now into Q2, and that was a run on a used set of tyres, I believe, 130.2, so we're immediately looking a little bit better than we were in the previous session if that was on used tyres. But we'll see now if we can improve a little bit on a fresh set of tyres. You can see as I round what is one of the final corners, I would say the penultimate corner, but technically this last sequence is 2 corners. I don't really agree with that, but, you know, we can talk about this to death. Either way, as we round the final couple of corners, you can see I do lose a tiny bit of time there, and I cut the advantage down from about 7 tenths to about 6 tenths, but nonetheless, we're going to cross the line, and I think this is going to be good enough to see us through to the following session. And indeed it is. In P4, 6/10 improvement was good enough to get us 4th place. I really significantly doubt that we're going to qualify as high as 4th in Q3, but at least we made it. We made it to top 10, means we'll be getting a little bit of a monetary bonus. And then the eliminations here were Sainz, Joe, Ocon, Stroll, Tsunoda, and Gasly. A really disappointing result for Sainz there, but yeah, he was only actually a couple hundredths away from safety, so perhaps a little bit disappointing for him as well. Maybe a tad unlucky, but you know, you got to be in it to win it. There we go. So we're now into Q3, and we are on a used set of softs one more time. Final time will be on a used set of softs in this session. And we'll see what kind of time we can do on the used tyres. It's a 130.0. That's pretty good, to be fair. So hopefully we can find a lot of pace on the fresh tyres, the fresh softs, and maybe we can challenge even higher than we currently are. You can see we're P9, but we are 7 tenths up roughly as we come around the third to last corner, I guess. So annoying that is this one here is 2 corners, but yeah, whatever. We round the final 2 corners. And we make a little bit more improvement. We're going to be about 7.5 tenths up. As we cross the line, it's a 129.2, and that is good enough for P2. Wow, okay, so that is really strong. A lot better than I was expecting. That's my best qualifying in Formula 1, if I'm not mistaken. We've never had a pole, and to my knowledge, I think our best qualifying before this was a couple of P3s. So, yeah, coming out swinging here in Season 2, apparently. And we'll see what kind of pace we can showcase in the race. If we can get anywhere close to this, maybe we can get our second ever podium in Formula 1. Of course, we got one there in Las Vegas, it was. Yeah, currently heading the rivalry with Perez. It was Russell in first and Piastri in third. Russell kicking off the season in style, looking to defend his world title, of course. So he has a very good chance of doing that, I would say, from pole position. And yeah, Piastri in P3. He's going to be very happy with that. Very strong performance from the rookie there. And well, I guess he's not a rookie anymore. It's his second season now, isn't it? But yeah, coming out swinging in season 2. He wants to establish himself as the dominant McLaren driver. We'll see how he looks in race trim. But yeah, we have a good chance of getting a good haul of points here if we can play our cards right. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to walk away with some good points to really kick off our campaign for P6 in the championship.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Robinson completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Oscar Piastri, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Bottas, Norris, Leclerc, Hulkenberg, Sainz, Zhou, Ocon, Stroll, Tsunoda, Gasly, Magnussen, Albon, Hauger, Sargent, De Vries, and Enzo Fittipaldi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. I'm joined by Anthony Davidson at the start of a new season, and it is a clean slate. Absolutely anything is possible right now.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. They've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Right, here we go. We're about to get going in a new season, but first we've got to review our strategy. We're going to be starting on the mediums and going to the hards. I'm not sure about that, you know. I wonder if starting on the hards could be the play here. Try and go long maybe, and see if we can capitalize on a sort of mid to late race safety car perhaps. I don't know. It's pretty ambitious, but I guess we'll see what we can do. It looks like we're going to have pretty worn out tyres by the end, so I'm not sure if those mediums are actually going to make it, because they said it would be like 50% on the hards by the time we got to that point. But obviously you don't generate as much tyre wear once you get onto lower fuel on your second stint. So we'll see what we're capable of doing. But yeah, hopefully the strategy will work out well for us. I don't really want to do any more than that, because, you know, I've done a 2-stop in a race where most people are doing a 1-stop before, and it didn't really work out very well. You might have seen that one. I ended up finishing like 18th, having started 5th. So here we go. We're parked up on the grid now, getting ready to go. We got a good parking here, and we'll see if we can maybe even challenge Russell down into turn 1. It's going to be hard with him on the medium tyres, but you know, I'm going to give it a go at least. And here we go as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've gotten away about the same as Russell, I would say. You know, it wasn't a better getaway, but on those inferior hard tyres, I'm feeling like it was a good getaway for us. And yeah, we maybe look about having a go around the outside of Russell there, but obviously has the superior grip on the mediums. Piastri had a quick look up our inside, but now he's coming under pressure on Perez, and that's allowing me to get away, get at Russell. And we are actually closing him down a little bit in a straight line here. We defended to the inside there, and that's going to allow us to be able to go around the outside of him, and we are through into the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. So that is pretty awesome. Kicking off the season in style, taking the lead of the race. I don't think we're going to stay here. I'm never optimistic about our chances of staying. But, you know, whilst we're up in these lofty heights, I will take what we've got for the time being. So we'll see if we can defend from Russell for as long as we can. But I really don't think that it's going to be more than a lap or two before he gets us back. I think our race here, honestly, if I had to guess, is probably going to be with Piastri, right? Because, you know, he's in a McLaren, which is fast, but I don't think it's not quite as fast as the Mercedes or a Red Bull. I wouldn't be surprised if Perez actually got ahead of Piastri there. I think it's going to be quite hard for me to keep Perez behind as much as I would like to, obviously, because he's my current championship rival. I think, you know, the game was just a little bit brutal, making those my only options as championship rivals. I don't really know what I did apart from, what, one podium in Las Vegas that might suggest I can race with these guys. And that was a bit of a fluke podium. You can't lie. Like, I was running in a good position before the podium, but I got incredibly lucky in that race to be able to actually get onto the podium in the first place. Russell now, unsurprisingly, got back ahead of me, and we're back down into P2 where we started. But that's okay. You know, we'll just see what kind of position we can walk away with. Maybe we can even challenge him back if we can stay within his DRS range. Who knows? But lap 3, we certainly could not stay within his DRS range. He's already 3 seconds up the road and proving why he is a world champion now. And yeah, we're coming under pressure from Oscar Piastri in the McLaren behind. Maybe my pace is even worse than I thought it would be. Let's not forget we are supposed to be the worst car on the grid. It just seems like we're very good at dragging this car into positions where it, quite frankly, has no business being. And this was one of those times. This was one of those qualies. I don't think that we have the pace to be on the podium on merit just yet, but you know, if we keep hopefully playing our cards right in the development race, eventually we will get to a point where we will be able to score consistent podiums. But for now, we are trying to battle back with Piastri. He overtook us earlier, but we're going to try and get back ahead of him now, and I think we are going to be able to do that, actually. We go wheel to wheel through those turns, turn 5 and 6. He ends up having to back out. I sure as hell wasn't going to back out, and I think he knew it. And yeah, that allows me to hold on to P2 for the time being, but I would not be surprised if Piastri comes back at us later on as we come onto the pit straight once again in the Bahrain Grand Prix. You can see that Piastri is closing me down, and yeah, with the DRS, it is a bit of a breeze for him, quite frankly. And yeah, he makes his way through, but we break a little bit later, and we almost go into the back of him there. I was a little bit concerned that I was going to actually crash into him. But, you know, that's what it takes to be the last of the late breakers here, right? With the DRS, we're going to be moving through once again. And, yeah, up the inside of Piastri. And, yeah, we're actually back into P2 again. So this is a great little scrap going on between me and Piastri right now over this P2 position. I don't know who's going to come out on top in the end, but, you know, I hope for my sake, obviously, it's me. I want to beat this guy so badly. I want to beat everyone, but yeah, him in particular. Perez there, I think, has had a moment because he's stopped on track, and that has brought out the red flag. So yeah, really bizarre. Did not think that necessarily warranted a red flag, but we'll see what happened here with Perez now. As he comes around the hairpin, you can see he just drops the car, gets it into a bit of a spin, and apparently they deemed that red flag worthy. You know, he didn't even he didn't even get any, like, he didn't crash into anyone. There was no debris or anything like that. But yeah, just that was enough to bring out a red flag, apparently. So that kind of screws us a little bit, I think, because we were planning to go a little bit longer on those hard tyres and maybe be a bit competitive towards the end of the stint. But that kind of neutralizes the stint a little bit. So I guess we're going to be going on to the medium tyres and doing another stop later in the race. However, when I came back out of that screen, we were actually on the hard tyres. Fortunately, this is a set of new hard tyres, so it's not completely over. But it turns out we're still on the same strategy we were before, which is a little bit bizarre to me, because it means that I think a few people here who are on the hards are probably going to try and go to the end, right? You know, 22, 23 laps to go, something like that. It really doesn't seem like the kind of thing where these guys would want to pit again if they can avoid it. But for me, obviously, I'm going to have to pit again because I've only driven on the hard tyres so far this race. I have yet to go on the mediums. I really feel like it would have been the play to go on the mediums, and maybe, you know, there would have been another red flag later, and we could have changed the tyres. Okay, but you know, it is what it is. You know, sometimes you get messed over with the strategy. It happens, and yeah, we'll see what we can do. We got overtaken by Perez there, but I think I'm going to try and get him back if we can into lap 8. However, I don't want to burn too much battery, obviously, because I want to try and hold on to it for the remainder of the race. We actually make a little bit of contact there with Perez as he goes a bit deep into the corner, but we make a bit more contact there even. But still no damage somehow. We are on simulation damage, I promise, so I was a little bit surprised when I saw that we didn't have any damage, but I was not disappointed, obviously. It means we're able to keep going with minimal complications. As we move now onto lap 9, and you can see that we are coming under pressure from Max Verstappen there, and he's going to go up to the inside through the DRS zone. I don't know if the DRS is even enabled yet, actually, because I think we've only been restarted for... No, we've been restarted for 3 laps, haven't we? So that he would have had DRS there, and he was able to make his way through. More contact there. We keep making contact with people at the moment. I need to maybe brush up on my my clean racing handbook, because right now I'm getting involved in all kinds of contact, both onto the marbles there as he defends to the inside heavily, and I think this might allow me to get back past him. You can see he was really struggling for grip with all those marbles on his tyres, and that has allowed me to make the switchback on Verstappen and through back into P3, but I don't think I'm going to stay on the podium for very long. And you can see that Verstappen and Bottas are actually putting pressure on me there, and Bottas has made 3 overtakes in the space of 1 straight. He got past me, Verstappen and Piastri all in the space of that 1 straight, so that was an incredible move coming out from Valtteri Bottas there. But he is now up into the podium places. The new man back at Mercedes. I say new man, the new old man, I guess, because he once was at Mercedes. And yeah, now he's returned to play wingman to hopefully defend George Russell's title in the 2024 season. It would be Verstappen getting past me now as we move into lap 11. And yeah, I'm going to see if I can get back at him with the DRS. But he's got the DRS as well. And yeah, it was a pretty foregone conclusion. So we move now on to lap 13. And actually, it's Alonso putting pressure on me now, not Piastri. So Alonso got ahead of Piastri. And I think he's going to try and get ahead through the DRS zone. And you can see he has done pretty much exactly that. Yeah, it was pretty trivial for him in the end. But I wasn't burning too much battery. I wasn't trying to fight it astronomically hard. I just thought that, you know, maybe I can get him back in the DRS zone later on. And here we are in said DRS zone and no dice. But this is the following DRS zone. And now, as he moves to the inside to defend onto the marbles, you can see that he goes a little bit deep there. And that actually allows me to switch back up the inside. And yeah, we make our way back up into P5. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we are right now. But I just feel like we're going backwards and backwards and backwards at the time being. It's 3 laps out from my pit window because they adjusted my strategy to say I should pit on lap 17 instead of lap 15 now, which I don't necessarily disagree with. To be honest, the pit stop is just a formality at this point. I don't think it really matters at all where we take it, just as long as we do take it. And yeah, I think because of that pit stop, I think a lot of these people are going to try and go long to the end. That might mean that, you know, I'm going to be trying to gun for like a point here at best. Sadly, I would have liked to have got a good points finish, but I just don't see it happening, as Alonso actually puts a bit more pressure on me through turn 13, and yeah, he is going to make the move stick. He had the better traction on the exit of the corner. My tyre's starting to go off a little bit, 27% on the rear left tyre there. I couldn't see what the rear right was, but he goes deep into the corner again. So many people going deep into these corners at the moment that it's, you know, it's really kind of ruining my race a little bit, to be honest, because it's meaning I'm getting further and further away from the cars in front. I don't know if I would have been able to contend with them anyway, but it would have been nice to at least try, you know. As Piastri now comes up my inside, he wants a little bit of a go, but we've got the inside line to the following corner, and we go wheel to wheel here. I don't know who's going to have DRS. I can tell you it's not me, and therefore it can only be Oscar Piastri there. We push him a little bit to the inside of the corner, try and go around the outside, and as we move to the inside, you can see we make a bit of contact there. There was a little bit more space on the outside for me, but I didn't want to get on the marbles too much, and fortunately I don't think either of us picked up damage, but I'm not 100% sure. You can see that Piastri has actually lost out quite a bit of time as we get to the pit stop now on lap 17. He's fallen behind Alonso, Norris and Stroll, so yeah, Piastri actually struggling. Maybe he did pick up damage from that contact, I'm not sure. But either way, we're going to be putting on the medium tyres to the end of the Grand Prix, 37% on the rear left on these hard tyres, and we were only on those for about 10 laps. So I'm actually not sure that these mediums are going to make it to the end with 12 laps to go. I think it's going to be harder than I think it's going to be. But yeah, we'll see. They should just about be able to make it, but they'll be pretty worn by the end, I imagine. We come out behind Ocon, who's got a 5-second penalty, so I think we will be able to finish ahead of him. I think I'll have the pace over him as well, especially considering I'm on new mediums and he's on old hards. I'm not sure who else here is on new mediums. I think Sainz is, possibly, as we now try and go for a move around the outside of Ocon as we go into turn 14 and 15. Are we going to make the move stick? He's on the inside, I'm on the outside. We make more contact for about the 5th time in this race as Joe comes into the pits. We are going to have DRS, but I've basically got no battery, unfortunately, as Carlos Sainz sets the fastest lap of the race, and he blitzes his way past me. Ocon as well with the DRS, and yeah, I lose 2 positions there, basically, but they're battling quite a lot here, which is going to allow me to go around the outside of Esteban Ocon there, and yeah, maybe look to make a move on Carlos Sainz here as well. We got the DRS, he doesn't have any DRS, we're going to try and dive up the inside. We just about get our wheel alongside his, he has to give us a little bit of room, and yeah, we've actually managed to make the overtake on both of them up into P11. So all we have to do is get one more position now, and we'll be back into the points. And someone pitted, clearly, because we've done exactly that, but we have to battle with Sainz now, and I think this is going to be pretty hard. He's in a Ferrari, which is a faster car than mine. They all are, so that's kind of a redundant thing to say. But yeah, Sainz making the overtake up into P10, pushing us out of the points. But Piastri might be my saving grace in this race, because he has that damage, I think, and he's getting further and further away from the cars in front of him and further falling deeper into mine and Sainz's clutches. So even if I can't beat Sainz, which actually, to be fair, we are trying to have a go around the outside of him now, and we've actually managed to stick out the move. I can't quite believe that. But yes, that is P10 for the taking for us once again. And now we're going to see if we can close up further to Piastri. And you can see by the time we get to the end of lap 22, we've closed down another 5 seconds on him, so he's really struggling. I think the combination of those old tyres and maybe a little bit of damage is really not working out for him now. I've got both Ferraris for company, Sainz and Leclerc, and yeah, Sainz makes the overtake into lap 23. But I'll see if I can get him back, as we've done many times into this DRS zone. It'd be quite nice if we could try and finish ahead of at least one of these Ferrari guys. As we dummy him to the inside, try and go to the outside, move around the outside, but we get onto the marbles, and that kind of reduces the amount of grip that we have on the outside line. And yeah, unfortunately, that means that he does stay P10 and us in P11 for the time being. Yellow flag up in front. I don't know who this is for. I think it's Pierre Gasly. Oh, red flag. Red flag out for Pierre Gasly being round. That seems like a bit of an overreaction again. But we've had 2 red flags in this race, which, yeah, I don't think it was really warranted for either of them. This is what happened with Pierre Gasly. You're not really going to be able to see it because the camera, unfortunately, didn't really follow him much further. But you can see that he was losing the car there regardless. So, yeah, that is the end of that particular stint for us. We're going to be maybe ending our run on the medium tyres early. They say that we should go back onto another set of medium tyres, but I actually think that with 5 laps to go, softs are probably the play here. Softs can surely do 5 laps, even if they are a little bit worn because I use them in quali or whatever. I think that softs are the tyre to be on, just to get that track position. Even if it means I have to do a little bit of defending at the end, I'm going to see what I can do. And yeah, we'll see if we can maybe make a few overtakes as we restart for the second time. And the lights go out as we switch to the replay camera, and yeah, you can see that I'm immediately getting aggressive with the Alpine in front of me, moving to the outside, and yeah, we've got ahead of him. We're on the outside of a few guys here, and we're going to try and sweep around the outside of, that's a McLaren and a Red Bull, and maybe even put pressure on that Mercedes there. But we are up into P5 at the moment. It is Russell from Perez, from Alonso, from Bottas, from myself, and then I believe that is Norris behind me now, not Piastri. He's had a bit of a poor getaway. Verstappen in P7, Stroll there in P8, and yeah, this is a pretty big battle brewing as we restart the race here. But now, as we move on to lap 28, I did manage to stay in P5 for the time being. Under pressure from Joe is my teammate Dennis Hauger, but not for much longer, because this is Joe retiring from the Grand Prix. He is the first retirement of the season, and yeah, I guess traditions, because I'm pretty sure he had a retirement in the final race of last season as well. Joe just can't seem to finish a race, no matter how hard he tries. And yeah, we move into the final lap of the race now, and Lance Stroll finally managed to catch up with me a little bit, and he's putting a bit of pressure on me, making the overtake stick, and he is up into P5. But maybe we can try and get him back, but my tyres are very gone at this point. I have to admit, I'm really struggling. We used the pace of the tyres initially to make a bunch of overtakes on the restart, and then we went from there. Brake super late into turn 4, dive up the inside. He wasn't expecting it, caught him unawares, and yeah, that is us into P5 again. But I don't think we're going to have everything all our way. You know, there's still another DRS zone, there's still another straight. We've got basically no battery to defend with. I think it's going to be harder than we think it's going to be to hold on to this, but I'm not 100% sure. Lance Stroll is only 3 tenths behind us as we come into the heavy braking zone of turn 10, and yeah, we'll see if he can maybe mount a challenge on us with the DRS. We're going to be burning a little bit of battery here. No? Okay, that's an interesting tactic coming out from past me. I think maybe a little bit of battery burning here would have been in order, because Lance Stroll is attacking us up the inside. We're going to go wheel to wheel through turns 11 and 12. And yeah, I don't know who's going to come out on top here. Will it be me? Will it be Stroll? It looks like it's marginally going to be Stroll, but we dive back up the inside at turn 13, and yeah, we actually do manage to hold on to it for the time being. Now we're burning the battery. Okay, at least we did it eventually, but Stroll piling the pressure on us. I think Verstappen's going to come up the inside as well. We're going to be through the middle here. Somehow we managed to hold on. Verstappen just was a little bit half-hearted there, couldn't quite find the position to make the overtake. Stroll squeezed to the outside, and we are going to cross the line to take P5.
A fantastic team effort then to secure victory here in the desert. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. and that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everyone played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Well, it was George Russell defending his title hopes, starting out with another victory in this second season, and it was actually Fernando Alonso who took P2 in the end, managed to get past Sergio Perez, but Perez on the podium too. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be anyone too disappointed on this podium. Perez, perhaps, he was running in P2 for a little while, but Russell and Alonso, I think, are going to be very, very happy
So
with
let's review the updated drivers' standings.
George Russell takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship after today's superb results.
So let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for your driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, I have to say, that was a pretty successful race in the end there. We've moved into P5 in the drivers and P4 in the constructors after that. Dennis Hauger ended up finishing P14, which is actually a really solid result for the car that we've got. You know, just because I'm a complete freak in it, Dennis Hauger, you know, I'm really happy with him finishing P14. If he can keep delivering performances like that, maybe he's proving why he was actually a good signing after all. And maybe I was potentially a little bit too quick to be like, yeah, I don't think he's going to do much. But yeah, you know, we led this race at one point. We showed some pretty good pace at times. And yeah, this race just overall went a lot better than I was expecting that it would. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like maybe P6 in the constructors isn't as optimistic as I thought it was going to be. It was a little bit ironic in the end there that the first red flag that happened kind of screwed our strategy, but then we really benefited from the second red flag. It meant we were able to put on a set of soft compound tires. I don't know why other people didn't, to be honest. I'm sure everyone had them. So I feel like it would have made sense for people to go onto the soft compound tires, but for some reason they chose not to. And yeah, maybe that was the downfall of a few people there. Obviously, it wasn't the downfall of Russell. I can't remember what tires he was on, but yeah, whatever happened, he was able to hold on to his race lead. He basically led that from start to finish for all intents and purposes. So yeah, pretty dominant race from Russell. I know that obviously I overtook him just about off the start, but it was literally for less than a lap that I led the Grand Prix, and I think other than that, it was Russell's world, and we were all just living in it. So yeah, impressive stuff from him. Maybe another World Championship on the cards this season, but it's a long season, 23 races, and this was just the first one. So yeah, anything can change from here. Maybe we won't get such a good season as I think we're going to get based on the performance we showed this time around. Who can say for certain? But one thing I do know is that the next race is going to be the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix at Jeddah, and that is a circuit that I do typically pretty well at as well. I don't know if it's going to be quite good enough for me to get, you know, a podium there necessarily, but I don't think that that's impossible based on the pace that I've showed there historically. Maybe I could even gun for pole or something like that, because, you know, I've yet to have a pole in Formula One, and given that we have had a podium, I feel like a pole or a win are the two things that I'm looking for next. I want to get at least one of those, a pole or a win this season. I don't really mind which, but yeah, at least one of them would be nice at some point. We've got a few tracks that I can see it happening at, like Britain, Austria, those kinds of circuits are ones I typically have done quite well at in the past. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We get all our sponsorship bonuses, which means we're not going to be far away from getting that aero facility upgrade. Maybe we can do that in the next video, who knows. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Jeddah. Hopefully we can continue this strong run of form that we started here. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.